Few speaks and final cracks. Feel the drop, it takes you back. Heartbeats sync with dusty tracks. A sound attack, no plan, no map.
Everybody, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. Your boy BQ in the place to be. I've done some content recently talking about the shocking departure of Gail Kim from TNA. And the first thing that I need to throw out there is that I feel that I've had some pretty reliable sources over the years. When I first started doing this, some of it was kind of third hand, second hand, but now I'm a lot as the years have passed, I'm a lot closer to the company, and I have a few different people that I can bounce things off of and all that. So when I get on the channel and I report things, just for the fans to know what the truth is, a lot of the time I do it very confidently because I think that the things that you've seen play out after I've discussed them on my channel is I would say the success rate is pretty high. I've been pretty accurate with those things. So with that being said, am I the type of person that necessarily reaches out and gets both sides of things? Probably not. Well, definitely not. But for the sake of, for lack of better term, journalistic integrity, and I'm not a journalist in any way, shape, or form, but for the sake of having some integrity, I wanted to get on here and talk about Gail Kim's side of things. Gail actually reached out to me directly, and I had just woken up from surgery actually. So at first I thought I was kind of tripping because I see that I have a message from Gail Kim. And once I was able to kind of shake off the cobwebs, I realized it was a real message. And she was very kind in reaching out to me. I just want to put it out there. She wasn't like, "Hey, you fucking lying sack of shit." It was nothing like that. But she reached out and said that I had done some reporting that she had issued an ultimatum to TNA and Anthem. I guess you could say Anthem management regarding Ariel Sherner, and that if it was one or the other, right? Either he goes or I go, type of thing. So she reached out to me and she said that that was not true, that that did not happen, that she does not give her bosses ultimatums. That's not how she operates. And we had some good dialogue, and I made sure that she knew that when I kind of report things to the TNA fans, that I had no ill intent in regards to the Gail Kim situation. As matter of fact, I got on and said kind things about her as well. I'm just giving you guys the information that I received, which has been fairly accurate over the years. She did not refute like that there was issues between her and Ariel. I believe that to still be true because let me throw this out there real quick. When I talk to someone over there, I will always say, "Am I allowed to repeat this? Is this information I can put out there?" A lot of the times, they say no. So there's information that I just can't put out there, and a lot of times there is. And when I had asked about this particular situation, I said, "Is this something that I can say?" I was told yes because it was common knowledge within the company that these two did not like each other. So this wasn't like some, they're talking shit behind each other's back type of thing. I was told that it was pretty common knowledge within the company that there was tension between the two of them. So what I had told you guys is that both of them went to management and said, "Hey, it's one or the other." Saying that didn't happen. I did reach out to TNA again. I said, "Hey, Gail told me this did not happen." And I told her I would speak on my platform to my audience and give her side, and they agreed that I should do that. They said that was the right thing to do. They did not give me this, "Oh, well, she's lying," and that's not what happened. They just said, "Yeah, absolutely. If that's what she said, put it out there." So clearly we have two conflicting sides here. And where there's smoke, there's fire. As I said, I'm sure that there was tension between the two. I have not received any kind of pushback on anyone saying that I was incorrect in saying that Ariel Scherner went to management and said, "Hey, I want Gail Kim out of here." No one has said that that's incorrect. So it's very, very possible that that is what happened, mixed in with perhaps some tension, which led to the change. But Gail Kim, definitely did tell me that that didn't happen on her end, and she reached out very professionally to me because she said it's her career, it's her her reputation, how she it's very important on how she's perceived, and she just wanted me to let people know that. I assured her as well. I said, the contacts that you have in the world of wrestling media have a much larger reach than I do. So, I said your side is always going to be the prominently featured side out there. But I said I will do my part in reaching out to my audience because my audience talks a lot more than a lot of the uh, other podcast audiences, whatever you call them, wrestling sites, whatever it is, because I have a strictly TNA audience base, listener base. This isn't this isn't one of those channels that gets on here and talks about everything. I'm really one of the few, if not the only, definitely the only prominent channel that's like strictly talking about TNA. So back when I used to interview wrestlers, I used to let them know like honestly like 300 listens from my audience is better than 3,000 from another platform a lot of the time because you're speaking to your target audience with me, and that target audience will get the word out and they will speak and have conversation. And I see that all the time with the things that I break to you guys on the channel. And I get on Twitter and everyone's talking about it. But well, BQ said this, and this. You know what I'm saying? And again, everything I've put out there, I've had my own predictions that have been wrong. But when I'm telling you things as fact, I'm usually pretty accurate, and I think people can see that. So, so again, even though I have a smaller platform, I let her know, hey, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to let people know that you are saying that on your side, this was not true. This did not happen, and perhaps it didn't. You know what I mean? That's how it is when you hear one side of the story. Obviously, I'm listening to two sides of the story in this case. They're conflicting, but that's freaking life. You can talk to two people who have had a disagreement in life, any two in any walk of life, and there's always going to be something conflicting. But um, that's all I've got to say regarding Gail. We wish her obviously the best going forward, and it was reported that she plans on staying in the wrestling industry. And I think I should clear up something as well regarding the knockouts because I've been real critical last couple years saying the knockouts are in a bad place, and I think people tend to blame Gail Kim because they think she is in charge of the hiring and the firing, and I'm I do believe she plays a role in all that. But the only thing I can say with a pretty high degree of certainty is that when they introduce new knockout, like she's not responsible for every single new knockout that shows up. But she has to I believe, I'm under the impression that she basically has to okay it. So, usually it does come across, I don't know how you I'm not gonna say, it comes across the desk of Gail Kim, you know what I mean? Like, "Hey, what do you think about signing this person? What do you think about this person?" You know what I mean? And I think, I think she plays a role in that, but I think people are putting it out there that she is 100% responsible for every single knockout on there, and I don't think that that is the case. So, yes, is switching her out a way of getting some fresh perspective in the division? Maybe that comes from a scouting standpoint, a creative standpoint, a coaching standpoint. You know, like being a producer. There's a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different ways we can look at it, but I think people are kind of putting too much on her shoulders in regards to the division. I just have to throw that out there as well. So that'll do it for me, folks. I'm your boy BQ. We will talk again. This will probably be the last video in regards to Gail Kim because I think it is important that everybody moves on in a positive direction. But I'll be back soon. We'll be talking Little Impact. I'm out. Peace.